This is a story from when I was in the lower grades of elementary school. School was over, and I was walking home alone. And then, from a casual thought, I decided to take another route home today. A road along a mountain with few people that I don't usually use. It's a long way from home. I remember walking happily. In the past, I was a child who found joy in such meaningless things. Well, the way home is different from usual. I suddenly found something strange. The road was only wide enough for one car. There was a forest on the left and a small pond on the right. From the pond to the right of it, something white and thin stretched toward the sky. At that time, what I thought was stretching towards the sky was simply because there was nothing in the sky. Quote, "It's not like the branches of the trees are growing. It's not like an airplane or a bird is flying." At first I thought it was smoke. But it's strange that smoke comes from a pond with water. It didn't seem like the aquatic plants floating on the surface of the water were burning. I put my arm on the guardrail and stared at the thin white object. It was like thread. It's white thread. I followed the white thread and looked up at the sky. The higher the white thread goes, the more it disappears as it merges with the clouds scattered in the sky. A thread that stretches to the sky. Naturally, I thought it was strange. However, at that time, I had a firm resignation that it could not be helped because it was there and I could see it. As I looked up, I felt something flashing in the sky. As time passed, the light became more visible. Light was coming down from the sky following the thread. It was a light that stabbed my eyes, like when the light of the sun is reflected by a mirror. The light was flickering, and when I held my hand over my eye and looked closely, there was no thread on it. I leaned forward to get a good look at the light. I think it was because the school bag was heavy. At that moment, I lost my balance and fell headfirst into the pond. But then something strange happened. I fell headfirst into the pond. But the moment my face touched the surface of the water, I was sticking out of the water. No time lag. I don't think I remember correctly. By inertia, once I jumped out of the water up to my stomach, and gravity sank me up to my head again. This time it was in the water normally. Of course, I should have panicked and drowned, but I was relatively calm. The pond was deep enough for my feet to reach if I stretched out. I didn't have a school bag on my back, so I found it while wiping my eyes and put it on again. It was a strange experience. With that in mind, I climbed out of the pond onto the road. I looked back at the pond one last time. The thread was no longer stretched. And on the way home, for some reason, I took the wrong way home, and I got home quite late. When I got home, my mother was surprised to see my son come home drenched and asked me, "Oh my God. What is it?" I just replied, "I'm hooked." It was from that day. I lost my ability to read and write. The teacher looked troubled, but I decided to think that falling into the pond had made me dumb. After that, the character problem became normal. The higher the white thread goes, the more it disappears as it merges with the clouds scattered in the sky. A thread that stretches to the sky. Naturally, I thought it was strange. However, at that time, I had a firm resignation that it could not be helped because it was there and I could see it. As I looked up, I felt something flashing in the sky. As time passed, the light became more visible. Light was coming down from the sky following the thread. It was a light that stabbed my eyes, like when the light of the sun is reflected by a mirror. The light was flickering, and when I held my hand over my eye and looked closely, there was no thread on it. I leaned forward to get a good look at the light. I think it was because the school bag was heavy. At that moment, I lost my balance and fell headfirst into the pond. But then something strange happened. I fell headfirst into the pond. But the moment my face touched the surface of the water, I was sticking out of the water. No time lag. I don't think I remember correctly. By inertia, once I jumped out of the water up to my stomach, and gravity sank me up to my head again. This time it was in the water normally. Of course, I should have panicked and drowned, but I was relatively calm. The pond was deep enough for my feet to reach if I stretched out. I didn't have a school bag on my back, so I found it while wiping my eyes and put it on again. It was a strange experience. With that in mind, I climbed out of the pond onto the road. After that, about a week after I fell into the pond, a child's drowned body was found in that pond. What was strange was that no children had gone missing in the vicinity of the city during that week. So I discovered it too late. I don't have any belongings, and I don't know where or whose child. The unidentified corpse became a topic of conversation for a while. As for me, I still make the doctor with a stethoscope make a questioning face when I go for a health checkup. It seems that the position of the heart is a little strange. After that, about a week after I fell into the pond, a child's drowned body was found in that pond. What was strange was that no children had gone missing in the vicinity of the city during that week. So I discovered it too late. I don't have any belongings, and I don't know where or whose child. The unidentified corpse became a topic of conversation for a while. As for me, I still make the doctor with a stethoscope make a questioning face when I go for a health checkup. It seems that the position of the heart is a little strange. There is a mountain called Ryo-zan in my hometown. It is written as a sacred mountain and read as a sacred mountain. It happened a few years ago when I went for a drive there with my company seniors. The sacred mountain is said to be a place like a passageway for dead people to climb this mountain and head to heaven, and it was also famous as a haunted spot. At that time, I didn't have a car, and I often had my seniors give me a ride after work. So one day, we were talking about going to that sacred mountain, and I was intrigued by the fact that it was a haunted spot, so I decided to go. The senior driver is quite rough and climbs up the mountain road. I immediately got drunk and felt very sick. I asked them to let me out of the car for a while, and I got out of the car at a slightly open place. It must have been around June, but I remember it being a very cool and pleasant night. It was a three-way intersection that my senior stopped the car. The road was divided to the left and right, and both were pitch-black mountain roads. There is no road in the middle of the forked road, but it is open, and I think I could see it unless it was night. For some reason, I wanted to take a picture of the scenery in the middle of the three-way intersection, so I took one with my cell phone camera. The moment I heard the clicking sound, the power to my mobile phone went off. I immediately tried to restart it, but the phone kept turning on and off until it started getting ridiculously hot. I suddenly got scared that I might have done something irreparable, so I told my seniors to go home. My senior also saw me and my mobile phone, and immediately turned back the way I came. I felt sick again because I was going to fly hard on the way back, but my desire to leave the mountain as soon as possible won out. By the time I got off the mountain and parked the car at the convenience store, my phone had returned to normal behavior. I wondered what the hell was going on and looked at the pictures I took, but there was no picture of that. Or rather, all the photos I took that day were gone. At that time, I was relieved that there was nothing. I think he was. Actually, I remembered this quite recently, when I was transferring the photo data to my PC because I was switching mobile phones. There was one photo that I didn't recognize. When I opened it, I saw two bright red roads in the dark that stretched all the way to the other side. It's hard to describe, but it looked like the light from a red traffic light on a rainy day was reflected, stretching endlessly into the darkness. I knew it as soon as I saw it. A photo taken at that time. I deleted the photo as soon as I got sick of it. I don't know why I found the photos that weren't on my phone when I transferred them to my PC, but nothing has happened since then. But every time I see a parting road at night, I remember it. About the red road. Now I don't know why I decided to take a picture in such a place. A story I heard from an acquaintance. Her house has a box that has been passed down since ancient times. Its size is 30 by 30 by 30, so it's fairly large. It looks like a boat chest and has a handle on the top. It has a handle and a lock on the front. It has a structure that can be opened and closed. However, the keyhole on the lock is filled with some kind of metal and cannot be used. For the time being, the key is also transmitted together, but this one is badly rusted and cannot be used. Since it was inherited in a locked state, its contents, including its existence, are unknown. It was a so-called unopened box. Quote, quote, quote. An acquaintance's family is female line, and boxes have been passed down from mother to child. It also means that the one who inherits this box will become the head of the family. An acquaintance learned about the existence of this box when she was in high school, but it was already decided that she would inherit the box. Because she had an older brother and a younger brother, but no sisters. I was nervous when you said it was the proof of the head of the family. An acquaintance told me about that time. A few years later, an acquaintance of mine who went on to a university in Tokyo was debating whether to look for a job locally or in the metropolitan area. When I consulted with my family, my parents wanted to find a job in my hometown, but my brother recommended that I look for a job in the Tokyo metropolitan area. I live in a rural area and there are few jobs. Due to the nature of the land, the proportion of physical labor is high, and the competition for places where women can work as regular employees is high. And sexual harassment is still rampant in rural areas. So if you want to work, it's better to live in the city. Don't worry about your parents because you, the older brother, will take care of them. That's what my brother said. An acquaintance was encouraged by those words and started job hunting in Tokyo. At that time, it was difficult to get a job, and it was difficult to get a job offer. When I became a fourth grader and was finally starting to get impatient, the obituary arrived. Brother died. I was heartbroken. After the funeral, my younger brother, who was in high school, told me this story. My brother insisted to his parents that he should be the one to take over the family. Because he is the eldest son. My parents didn't seem to care. My brother told me that my mother had scolded my brother to do some research on the matriarchy. Brother, you stole the box. It was my brother who found my fallen brother. I went to the room to call my older brother who didn't show his face even when it was time for dinner. When I looked inside through the half-open door, my brother had collapsed. A box lay next to it. It was almost at the same time that my brother turned his attention and the box snapped shut. The younger brother immediately called his parents. While my father came and called an ambulance, my mother went straight to the box when she entered the room and carefully picked it up. Then I checked to see if it wouldn't open. The box was not opened. When I pulled the handle, it only made a clattering sound. After confirming this, the mother exhaled in relief. I was worried about the box before my brother. But closed by itself. Absolutely weird. Both the box and the mother. My brother has repeated this many times. Your big brother's face was amazing. You look like you've seen a monster. I'm scared. What the hell is that box? It's something that you're destined to inherit, so you don't have to worry about it. If you inherit it, dispose of it immediately. Until then, be careful not to get too close. An acquaintance told his half-crying brother so. After that, the acquaintance eventually returned to his hometown and got a job there. It is true that there were few jobs, but women were not particularly disadvantaged, and they were never sexually harassed. Maybe I just happened to be lucky. Actually, I don't know what happened. There is no longer any way to be sure. My younger brother left home when he went to college and got a job there. He rarely visits his hometown, but he keeps in touch with him. Did you inherit the box? Not yet. Right now, my mother is still alive. If you don't mind, please show me once. Just the appearance is fine. Okay, I'll contact you before I dispose of it. Finally, we said goodbye. A few years later, after sending one email, I lost contact with her. The last email was to let me know that I was going to inherit the box.